Hey guys, it's Doug Giles again, and welcome back to Creative Restorations. Today we've got another question and answer session. I got my helper David with me. How you doing, David?
All right.
All right, good to see you. Let's see. I think we're going to get straight into, and look, forgive the way I got this set up. I only have two microphones. I got this one that I normally do for podcast type stuff or when I'm right in here working. And then I have the lavalier mic that I've got hooked up on David. And it's probably going to be two different types of audio. You're probably going to hear it two different ways. It might not sound exactly right, but hopefully you guys will still be able to hear it. Let's see. So, like I said, today's video is going to be question and answer. And I'm taking quite a few of the most recent questions that I've gotten asked in the comment section of these videos. And figured I'd answer them for you. So without further ado, let's go into the first question. David, you want to read it off for us?
All right. It's from Robert Bullion.
Okay.
And his question is about an Olhausen Remington 30-year anniversary edition. He's wanting to know what is a good all-in price. And if it's 2005 model, I guess he's looking at a particular table.
Okay. Robert, here's the deal. We predominantly do service work. And, although I do sell David will attest to this, I do sell the occasional pool table. Most of the tables that we work on, other people have bought, and we're just doing the work. We're moving them, we're recovering them, that kind of stuff. David, how often is it that we're privy to the actual price of a pool table?
Oh, shoot. Not really that often. I mean,
right. And as far as new table prices, I mean, yeah, we do some tables for some new company or some online retailers. But again, I mean,
right. We don't know what the price is, what they sell them for.
Exactly. And then too, here's the other thing, Robert, is that there's so many different brands of pool tables, and there are so many different models each brand puts out. It's next to impossible for us to keep track of all of that. I mean, it's like asking, that unfortunately for pool tables, there really is no blue book like there are for cars. So, the only way you can find out, I mean, the way you would find out would be the same way we would find out, would be just go out there and try to find comparables. I mean, see if you can find that table available somewhere else and what it's going for. Maybe try to find 4 or 5 examples of it and, get an average.
Right.
Yeah. That's about the only thing I can think of. So let's go on to the next question. David, you got it. Go ahead.
This is from Frank Bell. Is it permissible to put new felt on top of an existing cloth?
David, why don't you answer that?
I would say no.
All right, and why?
I'm assuming it's going to definitely affect the play of the game, and you don't want the new felt going on top of the old felt, because if you have problems with the old felt, it's putting new felt on top of it. It's not going to solve it.
Well, there's a few things. All right, let me expand on that. Forgive me, I got to adjust my chair here. I'm a little close to. I can't lean over. All right, let me expand on that a little bit. All right, first of all, if you've got nicks or anything like that in, or cuts or anything like that in the old cloth, they're still going to be there. So if you go to put new cloth right on top of that, you're going to have divots in that cloth. Another thing too, how would you do it on the rails? You got a feather strip that's there that actually holds it in. You would have to, now I'm not saying it's impossible to do. It might be possible, but you'd really have to work at it. You'd have to take the old cloth off of the rails and then put the old and new cloth back together and put it on the rails. So no, you just don't want to do it. I mean, it's asinine to, no offense there, Frank, but it's kind of asinine to even consider putting old cloth or new cloth over the top of old. You have the table apart. It's not that much extra. Just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and take that old cloth off and put the new cloth on. You'd be asking for nothing but trouble by trying to put one on top of the other. All right, next question. Go ahead, David.
I don't know who that's from, but
DJ Snowman 06.
and his question is, he was wondering how MBS cushions perform, and he says he noticed them on your site and could not find much info about them other than store descriptions.
Okay, MBS rubber is, it's a low end rubber, but it's pretty much industry standard. It performs excellent. I would say it performs every bit as well as anything that any manufacturer is putting on there. Let's give it an automotive. Let's look at it on automotive terms. The tires that you buy on your car. David, you know a bit about tires, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Brand new tires that they sell on or that you get with a brand new car. Are they the best tires in the world?
Absolutely not.
Okay. But are they good tires?
Oh yeah, they're good tires.
Last a while?
Well, absolutely.
Okay, they're going to do their job?
Absolutely.
Okay. You're not really going to have any problems with them or anything like that unless they wear out, right?
Correct.
Well, it's the same thing with the MBS rubber. Okay. It's a good performing rubber. It's going to do everything that you want it to do. The average person, it's going to do what they want it to do. But if you want something that's going to be a step up from that, the Championship Tour Edition rubber is obviously going to be some of the best rubber you can get, unless you step up to, say, Artemis. But again, going back to tires, you can buy better tires. There are better tires out there.
Absolutely.
And you can put better tires on your car once the old ones wear out, or if you just don't like the old ones.
Right. Tires, quality-wise, that's probably about the biggest difference is quality. You can buy a cheap tire, but quality-wise, it's not going to last as long or perform as good as a better quality tire. Mm-hmm. But, you get a different tire that's a decent tire, but you go to a higher, more expensive tire, the average driver is not going to get the benefit of the cost that he's getting from the more expensive tires, because he just normal everyday driving, he's not going to get the benefit from the more expensive tires. Just like these cushions. It might be slightly better than these MBS cushions, but is the average user going to get the benefit from the more expensive cushions?
Right, and this is actually, I'll touch on this now because I know we have another question coming up where I actually wrote out my answer to him, and like I said in my response to him, you reach a point of diminishing returns where the more money you put into it, you're going to get lesser and less percentage of return. Okay. And I would say that with rubber, that's going to max out at about $135 or so for a set. And that's going to be the Championship Tour Edition rubbers are going to be about the best you're going to get. And then, you could move up to something, say, like Artemis rubber. And Artemis is the absolute best in the world. At least that's what everybody touts as one of the best rubbers in the world. And is it going to play better? Yes, it will. It will. But how much better? Are you going to be able to perceive anything better? Is that better going to be, is it going to play 100% better? No. Is it going to play 50% better? No. And in all actuality, it might only play 5 or 6% better. Which, look, if you're a professional pool player, that 5 or 6% better might be exactly what you're looking for. But if you're just a regular homeowner, that 5 or 6%,
Right.
it's that diminishing return. You're not actually gonna see a perceived difference. So the MBS rubber is great rubber. It performs very well. It lasts a long time. But it's not the end all and be all. And quite frankly, I mean, most customers when they go to buy, when they need their rubber replaced on their tables, they don't want to spend a fortune. They're just average homeowners, and they're never going to see an improvement from those more expensive rubbers. So I don't charge for the more expensive rubber, and I don't charge for it, and I don't put it on there unless the customer asks for it, or unless talking with them I find out that they're an exceptionally good player. So, all right, next question. All right, I'll take this one. This one's Chris Napier. He says, Doug, I wanted to say thanks so much for your video on how to disassemble a pool table the right way, and this follow-up, how to assemble a pool table, the complete guide. With the help of your great step-by-step videos, I was able to disassemble, move 900 miles, and then reassemble the same table at my new location. Well, Chris, you're quite welcome. That's the whole point of my videos. Teach people how to do what we do. I believe that there's more than enough people out there. And David, how often do I sit there and I'll tell customers exactly how to do stuff?
Quite often. And it's like anything else. I mean, even though people know how to maybe say change the oil in their car, change the tires or whatever, most people don't want to put forth the effort, and once they see what's involved with a pool table, even though they know the right way, it's not something they want to try to tackle, especially if it's their first time doing it. Right. So, but we still put the information out there and let people know, hey, this is how it's done, and if you want to do it, tackle it yourself, have at it.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm going to be brutally honest with everyone here. One of the main reasons, and I don't think I've ever even told you this, one of the main reasons why I do these videos is so that I can give a big F you to all of the prima donnas out there that think that, oh, my work is so special. Oh, nobody else can do this. Oh, I'm the only one around that can do this. You know what? No, you can do this yourself, okay? You may not want to, and that's cool. That's where guys like us come in. That's fine. I get that. You may not have the equipment. You may not have a truck. You may not have the time for it. You may not want the headache of having to have to do it yourself, and that's cool. But like I said, the main reason why I'm doing these videos is because it's to flip off, proverbially speaking, to flip off the prima donnas out there in the pool table industry, because I've met a lot of them that think that their work is the end all and be all, and that nobody else can do it, and it just irks the daylights out of me. And now homeowners, because of my videos, homeowners like Chris here can go out there and go do it themselves, and they don't have to have somebody ripping them on. Well, and that's another thing too. There's a lot of companies out there, or I know of one in specific that has websites all over the country, and all they do is mark up the price of other installers, and then farm out the work to them.
Yep.
They'll sometimes double the cost of it.
They got some unscrupulous people out there.
There really are. They really are. And again, my videos are like, all right, I'll blur it out. It's like doing this to those companies. I can't stand them. I like businesses that are straight up and open and honest with their customers, and that's what it's all about. All right, next one. Go ahead, David.
KDR Blade.
Yep.
I'm a beginner at home tables. I lived at a bar that had a pro shop in it. I learned a lot about Valley coin operated tables, but I have no knowledge knowledge regarding home tables. Thanks for all your videos. You're a helping hand to help my buddies hard rails.
Oh yeah, he had commented this on how to replace the rubber on your pool table rails. And I did the video. When I did the video, I was using I think that was a Brunswick Century that I used for doing that one. Look, KDR Blade, you're quite welcome. Again, previous comment, everything that I said there, it applies here too. All right, next one. Go ahead, David.
Hader Kahan?
Hadir Khan.
Is 8x4 foot used Brunswick a good table? With Brunswick Centennial billiard balls. Include ceiling lamp. Is it a good deal for $400?
Well, first question that we had, again, all the different models and everything, is $400 a good deal on it?
It all depends on the condition of the table, and I can't tell by that question. He's not giving
exactly. We need more information. Okay, need more information. Like what we got the brand name, no model.
Right.
You know,
Does the rubbers need to be replaced? Does the cloth need to be replaced? Are there any? How's the rest of the table? The legs? You know, I mean, if it's in good shape, yeah. $400 is a good deal. If you have to replace the cloth, the rubbers, is the slate cracked, or any other, like the legs or anything, going to need work, $400 might not be such a good deal.
Exactly. I mean, you know, are you planning on doing all the work yourself? If you're not planning on doing the work yourself, and you're going to have somebody like us, guys like us, come in there and do the work, well, you know, all the things that David just mentioned. I mean, you could be looking at $1,200, $1,500 worth of work. Once you factor in moving it and everything, and new cloth, new rubber, you know, any other repairs that might need to be done, now you're into it for $400 for the table plus another $1,500 worth of work and moving and everything. Is it worth it? Again, I don't know. I mean, if it's a Brunswick Gold Crown and you're getting it for that price, sure. And otherwise it's in good condition, sure, that's a great price. You're under $2,000, yeah, that's fine. If it's a Brunswick Hawthorne and it's at that price, no, no, that's that. Or what's the other one? There's another one I can't stand that Brunswick made back in the 70s and 80s. What is it? Oh, the Bristol 2, Brunswick Bristol 2. If it's a Brunswick Bristol 2, you couldn't pay me enough to take one of those tables. I can't stand them. So. Again, like I said with the very first question, you know, go back to the first question that we answered. You need more information if you can't find it. I mean, if it didn't make one of my lists or it didn't make my top 5 list, then, you know, go out there and go look for some other examples of that table to try to find out what comparables are selling for. Again, no blue book for used pool table prices. All right, next one.
Terry Harris. I've seen a lot of these videos. This is the best I've seen by far.
Oh, thank you, Terry. That's the point. You know, I've seen a lot of those videos out there too, and that's another reason why this channel exists and why these videos exist, is because nobody else is giving out this information. So I have no problem with giving it out. All right, next question. Culvert futurity. Okay. Anyone owned a Fisher pool table? And this was actually, I think this was a question on my top 5 that I just mentioned, my top 5 choices for used pool tables. Fisher tables, right up there with the Brunswick Bristol. I would not own one. Not because they're bad. Now, David, I think you've actually gone with me to go recover one Fisher table. Recover it. And we will not move them. The problem with Fisher pool tables, and you may have seen this when we went to go recover that one. Do you remember it's a home pool table, but the rails go on it. It's a one-piece slate table. The rails go on it just like a coin-operated table. Do you remember that?
I think so.
There's a rubber piece of molding that goes all the way around it, and it's got bolts that go in
Right.
from the side. I think there's a metal track behind the, if I'm not mistaken, there's a metal track behind the rails that have sliding T-nuts, and that's where you attach the rail bolts to. But the table is actually a home table. It was always marketed as a home pool table, and it's a one-piece slate. The problem with Fishers, and again, I mean, they play just fine. They play like your typical coin-operated table because it's a one-piece slate, and the construction of it, it plays like a coin-op. But the problem with it is the way that the sides are made, the aprons on the, or the side panels of the table frame itself, they're on too steep of an angle. So, you know, it's a one-piece slate. You have to move it whole. So you'd flip it up on its side. But the problem with Fishers is that you need a special dolly.
Right.
You either have to make one yourself or have somebody make, because Fisher tables aren't around anymore, or the tables are, but Fisher doesn't make pool tables anymore. But you need a special dolly that you make or you have made to cradle that table, because if you try to put it on a regular four-wheel rolling dolly like you would a normal coin-operated table, the table is sets too, it's angled too far and it'll just fall back over. So I don't recommend Fisher tables for that reason alone. They're next to impossible to get moved, and they're very dangerous to try to move them yourself. If you own a Fisher pool table, don't attempt to move it yourself. I won't do it. You shouldn't do it. All right.
Christopher Hope. I have an American shuffleboard pool table from the 50s or 60s. Do you know if it's one-piece slate?
No clue. No clue. Never heard of the brand. I have heard of American Shuffleboard. I've never seen one of their pool tables. I've never worked on them. You know, some of the pool table manufacturers, some of the lesser known pool table manufacturers are very regional. And it really depends on who those companies can manage to pick up as distributors for their area. And I'll give you a good case in point. Beach Manufacturing is that, well, they used to be, when they were in business, they were based out of Garden Grove, California. And here locally, before they actually picked up their distributor here, they picked up a company called Kirschman's Furniture here. And this is before you started working for me. And prior to them picking up Kirschman's as a distributor, nobody around here ever heard of Beach Manufacturing. Now, in my estimation, see, I worked on a lot of that, well, all of those tables that got installed, because I had the contract to do all of Kirschman's pool tables. But prior to them getting the contract with Kirschman's, I had never heard of Beach Manufacturing. Well, after I started doing the installs for them, Beach actually, I learned that it blew me away. Beach is probably one of the best made tables I think I had ever run across. I really, really liked them. I mean, just for the average homeowner, it was one of the best, most well-built tables out there. So American Shuffleboard, again, I've never heard of it. Doesn't mean that it's not a very good brand. I don't know. But like I said, a lot of these manufacturers ended up being very regional, simply based off of who they could get as a distributor, and nobody ever picked them up here as a distributor, at least that I know of, because we've never run across one.
Right.
So. Go ahead, David.
Oh, that's
Hadir again.
Hadir Khan. Is Brunswick 8x4 3-piece 1-inch slate a good pool table? Oh, is that the same question?
No, it's a different question.
Yep.
So, is it a good pool table?
He's gonna have to give me more information.
Generally speaking, though, I mean, if you ran across a decent Brunswick with 1-inch slate, 3-piece,
I would say Brunswick usually makes a pretty good table.
Do they have their dogs?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the ones that I mentioned before,
Right.
the Bristol 2, the Hawthorne, the Ventura, I think it was. Yeah, Brunswick Ventura. Those are tables I wouldn't
But,
necessarily want.
Yeah, with that, I mean, I don't know. He doesn't give the model of the table or anything, so.
Need more info.
Yep.
Insufficient data.
Scotty Pippen. What type of rubber?
Scottie Pippen.
What type of rubber you use in
Wait, do
rail?
you think he's a basketball? that sounds an awful lot like Scottie Pippen. Oh, that is what it is. Scottie Pippen. Skaddi. Scottie Pippen.
Oh, okay. So it might be.
Basketball fan.
What
Okay.
type of rubber you use in rail facings?
Rubber and rail facing. I mean, it's the rubber that it's just industry standard rubber. There is no specific. They don't really give us information like that. The manufacturers don't give us that kind of information like this. These are the technical specifications. All right.
And right, I mean, and as far as facings go, I mean, you just order facings. They don't give you an option, huh?
Well, they give you two options. They give you a few options. Number one, they'll ask you, do you want backed or unbacked? They'll if you opt for backed cloth or backed facings, which are canvas backed facings, they actually have canvas on both sides. And then the other option is going to be unbacked. And then with unbacked, you've got two different options. You've got 3.2 millimeter, and then you've got a 5.5 millimeter. Personally, I go with the unbacked. I like them better. They're easier to work with. And again, just like, and this isn't a cost savings issue because the cost on them is roughly the same. There's only a few cents difference. And there are probably going to be those that disagree with me on this, but the average person is not going to see a difference between backed and unbacked. And the longevity of it is going to be roughly about the same as well. I don't particularly care to work with with backed rail facings because the fibers in it, the canvas that they embed into the rubber, when you start trying to shave it, it tends to get frayed and everything. Then when I've worked with it in the past, I usually take a lighter and burn off the fraying from it. So the type of rubber, again, they don't tell us what type it is. It's not like housings on power tools or plastic and stuff like that. If you open it up and you flip it over, they'll give you all like polyvinyl chloride or PVA or polyvinyl acetate, whatever it is. You can actually look those things up. With rubber, they don't give us that. So, and there aren't really there's industry standards on rubber, but it's not like they have an awful lot of manufacturers out there, and
Right.
we're just not privy to that. So, okay.
Matthew Robinson. Looking forward to the videos to come in the series. I just picked up a table of the same era, roughly, and don't see much info on them.
Okay. Matthew's question is in regards to the antique pool table that we're getting ready to make the new set of rails. As a matter of fact, I have some B-roll footage that I will play while I'm busy talking with you. I've already picked up all of the lumber for it. Hurricane Ida actually set us back quite a bit as far as timeline is concerned on getting that done. But it is still very much in the works. I've actually bought a brand new bandsaw. Bought a brand new bandsaw, Grizzly bandsaw, and I bought a used 20-inch Shop Fox planer, which I got to admit is overkill for what I'm doing, but that's actually going to be another video or another series of videos when I do the touch up on the planer, because after I'm done with it, I plan on fixing it up and turning around and reselling it. I don't need anything that big, but I think it's kind of cool to have. But anyway, everything is bought for it, and we're just about ready to go. And That's going to be some videos that we'll be producing within the next week or so, week to 2 weeks. We'll start cranking out videos on that series. So, next question. Let's see. I'll take this one, David. He says, I have a question. I'm picking up a vintage 1930 antique Brunswick this evening and just finished watching your videos for the second time. This particular pool table, according to the research I've done, has the side rail bolts hidden by decorative metal caps along the sides. Is this correct? I also read online that these metal caps require some special antique adjustment tool. I have an assortment of wedges, small pry tools for interior automotive trims, sockets, screwdrivers, etc. Is there anything special I will need to disassemble this old table? Do these metal caps just pull straight out to expose the bolts, or is the info I read online incorrect? Any help would be appreciated. Okay. Without seeing the table, I mean, if it's a Brunswick, there's only a few ways that Brunswick did it, and let's switch over to the overhead. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. Oh, wrong way. Okay, this way. And we'll tighten up. Okay, so basically what we're looking at with antique pool table is you've got a rail bolt. It's basically shaped like this. It's got 2 holes, and then it's got a center hole right here. And we'll try to do this in 3D. Okay, so you got the bolt itself, and that's going to go into the side of the table. You said, are there any special tools that you need? Well, they make the cap that goes over it is like this, and then you've got a screw that should screw right in here to this center hole. Okay, and usually what you would do is you would take out this center screw. It's usually threaded right in here. You would take out that center screw, and this whole cap would just slide straight off. So the cap would be like this. You'd have a hole right in the center of it. Okay, let me draw that a little bit better. So you've got a cap. Okay, you got a hole right in the center of it. You've got a screw, usually slotted screw, and then that's going to fit into the bolt itself. That's going to go into the side of the rail. Okay, you got 3 holes, the bolt itself. These 2 outer holes are the ones that you would use that special tool that you're talking about. Center hole right here is threaded to accept this screw. This is decorative. This escutcheon, or this decorative cap, it's called an escutcheon. That would slip right over the head of that bolt. Okay, now there is a special tool that is adjustable, and it's made to fit on a brace. So it's kind of tapered, and then it comes down, and then it's kind of a weird shape. Kind of looks like this, but there's 2 nipples that come off of it here, and then on one side you've got a set screw. And then the side that has the set screw on it, this one will actually rotate to be able to accommodate different widths. So this pin is actually offset. I don't actually carry one of these tools for taking apart antique tables. What I use is a very good, sturdy pair of needle nose pliers. Okay, needle nose pliers, you open them up, stick them in the 2 holes, grab onto your pliers and push hard into there and turn. That's all there is to it. So Special tools for it? No, you don't need it. All right, so now that we've got that, turn that camera back off. Let's go on to the next table.
Tyler Emery, is it required to take the rail off to do this?
Okay, he was actually talking about recovering the rails. Yes, 100%. It is definitely required that you take the rail off to recover it. So that one's a no-brainer. Sorry, Tyler, I'm not going to pick on you or anything, but yeah, you got to take it apart. Okay.
Florida Raider, nah, Brunswick tables are more fun to play on. Plus, the rails don't play short.
Okay, Florida Raider, I'm actually inclined to agree with you. This was a comment on my How to Make a Brunswick Play Like a Diamond, where do you remember that one where we added the rail facings?
Right, yes.
Okay, and we tightened up the pockets. I'm inclined to agree with you. I prefer playing on Brunswick tables when I do play. Diamond tables are great tables for practice. Now, forgive me, David, I'm going to take over this question because I know you're not, you never really were a big time pool player.
No.
I was at one point in time, and I quit playing probably 10 years ago or so. But diamond pool tables are fantastic practice tables. And Brunswick tables, they have a little bit larger pockets. They have a standard size pocket. And, Diamond came in and they decided they were going to reinvent the wheel and make their pockets tighter and everything, which is great for practice. It really does. It improves your accuracy. What it does, the negative with that is that if you have people come over to play on your table and they're not pool players, they're not really good, and they're not that accurate, it becomes exceptionally frustrating to play on a table that you can't make your shots, where the games just last forever, where somebody else is just wiping the floor with you. You can never make a shot, but they're making every shot. It's not that fun. Okay, so anyway, I'm not a big diamond table fan. For average person playing, for tournaments and stuff like that, they're fine. If all you want to do is practice on them, that's fine too. Go ahead, David.
Jesse Solorzano, if you replace the rubber on your rails, do they come oversized to where you can leave extra at each pocket and tighten the pockets this way, or do the rail sizes come standard with no extra material to cut off? Thanks, love your vids.
All right, Jesse. Yes, the rubber does come oversized, but what I always recommend to people, always buy your rubber for a 9-foot table. Okay, if you have a 9-foot table, you're going to have probably, 3-4 inches on either side. If you get it exactly right, you're going to have 3 or 4 inches on either side of extra rubber once you glue it in place. But even if you have a 7-foot table, doesn't hurt to have extra. What's it cost? Maybe $5 extra, $10 extra, something like that, to jump from a 7-foot to a 9-foot. Always buy your rubber for a 9-foot table. Unless you have a 10-foot table, then buy it for a 10-foot. But 7-foot, 8-foot, 9-foot table, always buy for a 9-foot. And yes, you do have extra. As far as leaving extra to tighten the pockets, the only time you would cut extra is if you added additional wood there, where you would need that. Your rubber should be trimmed flush with the end of the wood. So no, you're not going to cut off. You're not going to leave extra. Okay, it's just not the way it's done.
Right, and you just having extra rubber doesn't. You need to do more to tighten the pockets.
Correct. You have to actually add in wood behind it for that rubber to actually have something to adhere to.
Right.
In which case, that would be put on first. That extra piece of wood would be put on first, and you're still going to cut it
right
flush with it. You're not going to leave anything hanging off extra.
Right. So yeah, just having the extra rubber there without adding the extra wood or making the pocket itself tighter, adding the extra rubber is useless.
Correct. Correct. Usually you would tighten it up. If you don't have that extra wood, the way you would tighten the pocket is using extra rail facings.
Right.
You stack rail facings. So, all right, next one.
Sole reclaimer. I see on this table you only used adhesive spray and not staples for the table felt. Is there a reason to only use spray or staples?
Yes, this was actually the first video that I had uploaded where you and I had recovered the table over on the West Bank. It's a fast motion video where I showed everything, but it was just in really fast motion. Yes, there's a reason why. I use glue exclusively on tables that do not have a slate liner, okay, which is the extra piece of wood that is underneath the slate, lining the slate. It's a frame that is used to attach the cloth to. I only use glue in instances where that is not present, where it's only slate. I exclusively use staples when I can use staples. So if there is a slate liner present, it will be stapled. So if you notice on that table, there are some close-up shots, although they are in fast motion, there are close-up shots where you can see that there is that only at the pockets do they have additional wood there. Okay, and the only reason why they have that wood there on that particular table, and I think that was a Brunswick hawthorn, the wood is there for the pockets to get stapled to. It's those corner blocks that are on just the corners and at the pockets for those pocket fingers to get stapled up there. So if you notice, the rest of the perimeter of the table does not have a slate liner. All right, this one's a twofold because they were both on my last video, which was the Hurricane Ida video. So, David, you want to go ahead and read these?
Curtis Hickey. Godspeed. I was concerned about you down there. FYI, here in northeast Mississippi, we dodged a bullet but did cause some minor problems. I pray for a speedy recovery. And then the other one is OK Joe. I thought your house was underwater when I first clicked on this video. I hope your water and electricity get back up soon.
Curtis and Joe, we really appreciate it. Things are pretty much back up to normal here. We didn't really get any kind of damage here at all for us anyway.
Right.
You, David?
No,
No, I didn't either. So I think David and I were out of electricity and water for about the same amount of time. Where'd you end up going, by the way?
I went to Destin, Florida.
Okay, so you but you left out after the storm. I think you left out
Correct.
the same day I did.
Correct. I left out that Monday afternoon after the storm.
Yeah. Now, I have some B-roll footage. Amy and I decided to take a drive earlier today, and we got some footage of, some of the stuff that's going on around here and following the recovery. And I know a lot of you people are that are watching this right now are probably gonna say, "Man, Louisiana, New Orleans looks like crap there." Well, normally it doesn't. Normally it's a very pretty place to live. Other than the fact that it's all flatland, it's normally a very pretty place to live. And but this is the hurricanes. I mean, it's just something we've had to deal with, just over the years. How many have you dealt with?
Oh, dozens. I grew up here, so I've been living through hurricanes since I was a child.
Yeah, and the thing is, us Louisianians, we're very resilient people, and you kind of can't keep us down. The moment that the storm was over, there were people that were getting outside and starting to cut tree limbs and everything. And like I said, I've got some B-roll footage, and I think I'll play that now. In the B-roll footage, you can see that there are lots of up and down the streets. You'll see that people have trash and stuff like that already set out, waiting for the garbage men to come along and pick it up, waiting for the trash. And they've got these big trucks with a claw arm that come down and pick up all the branches and everything and put it in these large open bed tractor trailers, and they bring it to, well, right now it's on a street called David Drive. Oddly enough, David Drive. There's a big mound, and I'll show you that in a second here. There's a big mound. It's probably 40 feet tall of, just trees and stuff like that. And when Amy and I passed by there today, we noticed that they're actually mulching all of that. They're chipping all of it up. I wouldn't doubt it if the parish turns around and sells that to companies that want to reuse it as mulch, because it's all perfectly good mulch.
Yep.
But as you can see from the blue tarps and everything in the video, that we get in there and we just get it done. We're kind of used to dealing with this. Is it a setback? Of course it's a setback. It's always a setback. But we don't let it get us down.
Nope.
So, all right. And look, those of you that got on my website and actually placed orders after my video for Hurricane Ida, I very much appreciate it. Very, very much appreciate it, because really that was the only source of income that I had, was sales from the website at that point. So thank you all very much. All right, let's see. This is three different. I will read all three of them. Let's see. Josh T. He says, I just wanted to say thank you for your videos. I bought a 1976 Brunswick Viscount from Facebook a few weeks ago. I noticed it to be in great shape in the ad. When I got there, it was completely disassembled. The slate had been packed by pros. I was assured that everything was in great shape. I now realize that the seller didn't know what was going on with the table, or he just lied. After talking with him, I believe he just had no clue what shape it was in. But with your videos, I was able to diagnose the issues and get it in as proper condition as I can without rebuilding the wood rails completely. I just finished rebuilding the rubber and recovering the rails. With your help, they look almost professionally done. I felt it was worth the investment, because I only paid $200 for a slate table. Again, thank you. Same thing, you're quite welcome. That's what the videos exist for. David is doing tables rocket science.
No, it's not rocket science, but it is. You do have to know what you're doing, especially with putting on the felt, and rails are one of the hardest, technically hardest aspects of putting a pool table back together. Yeah. But it's not rocket science.
Yeah, I think anybody, if you have the drive to do it, and if you're a DIY type of guy, I don't see why anybody couldn't do it. Now, will you, like Josh here? I mean, will you achieve professional results? You can get close. I don't think you can without the practice, that repeated going over and doing the exact same thing over and over and over again for years on end. Will you be able to get professional results? No, probably not, but you can get pretty close. And quite frankly, I've seen a lot of professionals that haven't done anywhere near as good a work as some amateurs do. Right. Just usually it takes an amateur a lot longer to do it. Dave Chelnick says, Doug, thanks to your video, I was able to replace the rubber bumpers and refelt. Turned out to be great, but you can see where the new rubber was folded. How do you remove those marks? Dave, I don't know. I don't know what marks you're talking about. I would have to see pictures of it in order to know, but just going off the comment, I would have to say you didn't stretch your cloth properly on the rubbers if there's marks there. So go ahead, David. You want to grab that one?
Bradford
Levins.
Yeah. Just wanted to leave a comment and say thank you for taking the time to make these great videos. I'm in an area without a reputable table installer, and these have been invaluable tutorials in making me comfortable with tackling, moving, and setting up a table by myself.
Good job, buddy. You know, that's what they're there for.
Yep.
Like I said, I keep saying it. Anybody and everybody can do it if you have the desire to do it, and you know you got a little bit of muscle on you. You can do it. You know, it's not hard.
There's another one from Soul Reclaimer.
Yep.
Great list with great information. How about a video of your least favorite brands?
I've actually considered doing a video with my least favorite brands. I give you a few of them right off the top of my head. Fisher's number one. Fisher is by far number one. Least favorite brands. Everybody, you know, how many dogs have you seen? How many bad tables have you seen us go out to go do, where the table itself was legitimately just a bad table?
I've seen a couple, but I don't quite really remember the brands. And then we've had some that were people thought were three-piece or Slate tables when they were Sears brand or a Kmart table, and
Academy Sporting Goods, or you and I went to do one. I think this was last year sometime, where we went to go do one for a guy down in southeast or out towards Homa, I think it was, and or Golden Meadow, and the slate on it was like 1/4 inch thick. Do you remember that? It was a 3-piece slate table, and he ended up buying another pool table.
Right.
Or he bought one of mine, maybe. He bought a used one from me, I think it was. But yeah, the table that he had, it was not a very good table. Like 1/4 inch thick slate. It's the first time I had ever seen a table with 1/4 inch thick slate. I don't remember the brand name on it. But if I knew the brand name, that would definitely be on there. Anything Sears table, you know, garbage. Sorry, Sears. Well, Sears is out of business now, aren't they?
Right.
So I can get away with saying they're garbage tables, right? Academy Sporting Goods, again, you know, I wouldn't buy any of those. What else? Can you think of any other ones?
Not offhand. I mean, I'm not as familiar with all the brands as you are. So the only ones I know are the ones we worked on, and if we didn't ended up not working on it.
Well, and see, another thing too is that usually what happens is I catch it, you know, before we ever even go out there. So you don't get a chance to see them, because I'm taking all the phone calls from customers. And if it turns out that it's one of those tables that we're just not going to work on, we don't even go out there. I tell them right then and there, we don't work on those. So and I can't remember. I'm getting old. I can't remember half the stuff anymore. All right, go ahead.
Ross Newton. Why did you skip the most important part, moving the slate?
Okay, this was on the how to disassemble a pool table video. Okay, Ross, I've explained this numerous times to numerous other people because I've had this question pop up before. The point of the video was how to disassemble the table, not how to move it. I have another video up there that says how to move a table, where we actually, you know, lift the slate off and everything like that. The point behind that was the entire point behind that how to disassemble a pool table video, was to show people where the nuts, bolts, and screws are, what order everything comes apart in. And let me go on the record for saying, let me go ahead and say this right now. That video is not intended to be a catch-all for every single brand model table that there is. Okay, it's not. What it is a broader overview that tells you a method of taking apart a table. Every table comes apart, for the most part, that way. Where you're gonna go in, you're gonna take the pockets out, and again, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about leather pockets or you're talking about plastic drop pockets. Let's take a Brunswick Gold Crown versus I don't know, and just any Olhausen home table, okay, with leather pockets. Well, what's the first thing you do on a? What's the first thing that we're going to do on a table?
Undo the pockets.
Exactly. While you're busy, either taking the leather fingers that are leather tabs that are stapled underneath, or I'm going to go around and I'm going to remove the bolts in, say, a Brunswick gold crown. There's little Allen nuts or Allen bolts that are holding it in. First thing, remove pockets. Okay, what's the next thing we're going to do?
Remove the rails.
Well, we've got to take out the rail bolts, right?
Right.
Okay, so it does, again, back to the same thing. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about a leather pocket type table or we're talking about a plastic drop pocket table. We got to remove the rail bolts.
Yep.
So the rail bolts come out next. What's the next thing we're going to do? We're going to flip the rails, right?
Yep.
Okay, then we're going to disassemble the rails. Now, Gold Crown. Gold Crown has those corner castings and the pocket castings, okay? On a leather pocket table, well, they don't have those castings, but you do have bolts, 2 bolts on each side of the pocket that hold it in. You got to take those, you got to disassemble the rails, the rail assembly, disassemble it. And again, it doesn't matter whether you're talking about castings or you're talking about leather pockets. So what's the next thing after we're done with that? Once we got the rails disassembled, what do we do next?
Then we got to uncover the table, take the felt off of the slate.
Exactly. So that's the same process. What's the next thing?
Then you got to take the screws holding the slate to the frame.
Exactly. Now, what's the difference between a Brunswick and, say, an Olhausen on the slates?
Not much.
Center drillings. Those 2 extra screws that are in the center, okay? Which we'd probably have to chip those out. But again, the next step is take the slate screws out. It doesn't matter where they are. It doesn't matter how many they have. It doesn't matter whether it's got 12 or 16. That's the next step. You're going to take those screws out, right?
Yep.
Then you're going to take the slate off, right?
Yep.
Then you're going to disassemble the frame.
Correct.
Which, well, you'll either disassemble the frame or, well, actually the next step is you're going to take the legs off.
Right.
And then you may or may not need to disassemble the frame. But it's a method, and it doesn't matter what type of table you have, as long as it's a home table or a commercial type table, that method still holds true. So it doesn't matter whether you have a Peter Vitale, a Brunswick, an Olhausen, or a diamond home type table. None of that matters. The technique, that order that you're going to do it in is going to remain the same. All right, next question.
Kurt Cutler? Collier?
Coulter.
Coulter. Fantastic video. Thank you so much. You've got me thinking I can disassemble and move a table I want to buy. 2 hours away one way and 3.5 hours one way from the nearest table mover I can find. May I ask if there any tips you could share on what might be different process-wise on a 2003 9-foot Vitale Caswell from the Brunswick featured here? Thank you.
Again, Kurt, I just said it in my previous answer. What I said is more of a method. Are there going to be differences? Of course, there are going to be some slight differences. But again, the method is still going to be exactly the same. The order of steps are going to be exactly the same. So that's how you do it. Pockets, rails, bedcloth, slate bolts or slate screws. Remove the slates, take the legs off, and then if you need to, disassemble the frame. So see the previous answer. All right. Some of you guys have actually asked if there were that you guys would like to actually send money thanking me for the advice that I gave you, that I've saved you X amount of money. And we've read off a couple of those where guys have said that I've saved them hundreds of dollars. And some people have actually asked if there's a way that they can, send me money in gratitude. Sure, you can. I mean, yeah, checks are always welcome, but eventually, YouTube doesn't have this out for every one of their creators yet, but eventually they will have what's called super thanks for all of their creators on YouTube. I don't have that option yet, but what it will look like is a heart with a $sign directly in the middle underneath the video that says thanks. So if you click on that, you'll have the option of donating. I think it's either anywhere between $2 and $50. If I've saved you hundreds of dollars by doing, by you being able to do your table yourself, or I've saved you $1,000, hell, send $50 my way. I'm not proud,
Yep.
David and I don't mind. I eventually I'd like to get out of doing pool tables where I'm not doing it at all. You, David?
Oh no, I'm starting to get a little old. Too old for this.
But yeah, and the thing is these videos are going to be around on YouTube for a very, very long time afterwards. And I see where, I we'll be putting up quite a few more videos as the years progress until we're finally out of it altogether. But eventually, I guess what I'm saying is eventually these YouTube videos will be my only source of income. And, if I've saved you a bunch of money and you want to send your thanks to me and you want to send a donation to me, that's cool with me. I'm fine. I would really appreciate that. We would appreciate that. So, let me see. Are there any other questions? I don't think so. Do you have any questions for me, David?
Nope. When's the next job?
Next job is actually Tuesday morning. We got to go put that pool table back together where we their floor was severely buckled, and we got to put that pool table back together. Rails, we had to replace the rubber on it and recover it. So the rails are already done. They're already covered and everything. So it's just a matter of putting the frame of it and leveling it out and doing a final assembly. So, but anyway, that's it, guys. Feel free, ask me questions. We like answering questions. At least I do anyway. David's kind of quiet, but...
well, he's the man with the knowledge.
Been doing it a long time, 30 years. But anyway, yeah, we look forward to seeing you guys on the next video. Feel free to write me some more questions down below. Look, here's what trips out or what really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm is comments. Hit the comment, just write me a comment, ask me a question. If you got any questions for David, put up your hand, David. Put up your hands. If you want to ask him how that happened, okay, we'll catch that on the next video. Ask the question, because I'm not going to ask him. I already know the answer. But if you're curious as to how that happened.
Yep, and I'll just give you a hint. Some of those pool table slates weigh upwards of 250 to 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm. So... anyway, yeah, we'll catch you guys on the next video. Like I said, write comments, because that's what really trips the YouTube algorithms is the comments. The likes, dislikes, I don't know whether that does much of anything, because there's a lot of videos out there that have tons and tons of dislikes, and yet, they're ranked really high. The most disliked video on YouTube has something like 15 million views or something like that, and it's got an approval rating of like 15%, something like that. So anyway, write me comments, hit the like button, do that, hit the subscribe button, do that, but comments do it. So write me some comments, let me talk to you guys. Anyway, we'll catch y'all on the next video.
All righty, see y'all next time.